I'm here today with a cautionary message, some words of warning. So especially if you are in the apprentice phase of your wrestling career, heed this message carefully. Was that title clickbaity enough for you? I'm Mike Quackenbush, and this is Till We Make It. If you are passionate about the craft of professional wrestling and you're never done learning all about it, then you have landed in the exact right place, my friend. What are you waiting for? Go ahead, join the Till We Make It tribe. Subscribe right now. Today's video I am dedicating to my two newest patrons. So this one is dedicated to Jake and to jolly old JV. Thanks for your support. And if you want to come join our community over on Patreon, there's a link down below in the descriptus. For as little as $5 a month, you can start unlocking tons of Patreon exclusives. The real count as of this morning, 507 exclusive posts are waiting there to be discovered by my patrons. Today's video probably sounds like it's coming from an antagonistic point of view, but it's quite the contrary. I am sending you these words of warning from a place of compassion, not only because of how I got my own start in wrestling, where this was the sort of thing that was never discussed, it was never explained, but also because I've seen some of my own trainees end up in a scenario like what we're going to describe, and they got stung hard. You may know I teach and do consulting gigs for pro wrestling organizations and individual pro wrestlers on a worldwide basis. And this is something that is not being talked about enough. I feel as if it is most relevant to those of you out there already in your apprentice phase or about to embark on your apprentice phase. What I mean by that is you have just started your training. Maybe you're in the first 2 to 3 years of your journey into pro wrestling, or you are about to make the decision to sign up for your very first training class at a wrestling school that happens to be near you. So if this sounds like you, pay careful attention. If you're hearing that and you're wondering, how does somebody even arrive at that point where they are making the decision to no longer just be a fan, but to go behind the curtain and to begin training for a career in professional wrestling? Well, the only thing I really know 100% is how it happened to me. When I was still in high school, little by little, wrestling started taking over my life. I was watching more and more of it. I was consuming more and more pro wrestling. I knew which channels showed reruns of the wrestling I just finished watching so I could watch it again. So I could study the matches, the angles, the interviews, the commentary, everything about it. And then suddenly, some of my school projects started to be about wrestling too. And before you knew it, the only thing I could talk about with my friends was professional wrestling. And I knew it was getting bad because my teachers and my friends were like, could we do something other than pro wrestling, Mike? Maybe some different projects. Maybe we could talk about something else over lunch. And before you knew it, I realized this was going to be the course of my life. And if that sounds at least a little bit like what you have gone through or what you're going through right now, pay close attention. Chances are you've spent some amount of time, maybe an outrageous amount of time, daydreaming about what your future in professional wrestling might look like. You might have imagined what it would be like to walk down the rampway on Monday Night Raw, or what your debut in New Japan Pro Wrestling is going to be like. You may have fantasized about what that looks like, sounds like, feels like. And there's nothing wrong with that. I am not here to poo-poo daydreaming. That's not the point of today's video. If anything, I am a huge advocate for visualization. I am a believer in the power of visualization. When I can visualize something so clearly, it is easier for me to manifest it through my hard work, my dedication, and my willingness to sacrifice. And if you are possessed of these same things, it will be easier for you to manifest into reality what it is you visualize for yourself. But having said as much, I am here today with a bit of warning because I want to spare you from future disappointment or quite potentially heartache. Especially during your apprentice phase, I want to caution you against setting your heart on things like whether you're going to be a face or a heel. You're going to wrestle as a single or in a tag. What your gimmick might be, what your entrance theme might be, what your finishing move might be. I want to caution you against really marrying yourself to a single idea of any of those categories, or depending exactly what shape your particular wrestling obsession takes, if you are the kind of person who imagines crafting a really unique storyline or angle, catchphrases you might employ during your promos, inventing a new match type that's never been seen before that you're going to bring to the major stage. All of these ideas, they're fine to fantasize about, to daydream about, but I'm cautioning you today against setting your heart on these things because I don't want to see you fail to achieve your wrestling dream. And there is a really good reason why those kinds of things will not be realized. When you sign a contract with the WWE, for example, not only have you been signed to an exclusive deal, you have also been cast in their TV show. And that's really important because when you are cast in a show, whether it's a wrestling show, whether it's the touring show of Hamilton, whether it's the next Batman movie, when you are cast in a show, it becomes your professional obligation to take someone else's vision and bring it to life. And it's important to realize that their vision rarely, if ever, matches your vision. And that's why I'm telling you, don't set your heart on this gimmick, on being a singles wrestler versus a tag team wrestler, on this particular finishing move. Because when you reach that point in your career, if that is your ultimate goal, if that's where you see your wrestling dream taking you, by that point, you must be comfortable with the fact that it is no longer your professional responsibility to bring your own vision to life. You're going to be bringing someone else's vision to life. If you're learning something from today's video, won't you please take a moment now and leave a like-a-palooza down below. It signals some engagement to YouTube, and that tells YouTube to share these videos with more people. Thanks. Here are some quick examples to help you understand how those two things might clash. I don't know this 100% with absolute confidence, but I could take an educated guess that Pete England's vision for himself inside the squared circle was this: Pete Dunne. And I'm gonna guess his vision for himself was probably not that: Butch the Chimney Sweep. Do I know that 100%? No, I don't. But the fact that he was Pete Dunne when he had a measure of creative control over the direction of his career, and when he was signed up to bring someone else's vision to life on the main stage, he transformed into Butch, well, that tells me something. Or how about Kim Benson? I'm gonna go out on a limb here and guess Kim Benson's vision for herself was a lot closer to Viper, the character she was doing in Scotland years before she got signed by WWE, and it's a lot less like Dewdrop. Just taking an educated guess here. This next part is key, so listen carefully. We have to flip the pancake over. We have to talk about the other side of this equation for a moment. So let's consider the example of Scott Garland. Scott's vision for himself was no doubt Scott Taylor. That's the character he was doing on the independent circuit for years before he signed with the World Wrestling Federation. I know this myself because we were booked on some of the same cards back in the day. But once he signed with WWF, once he was cast in their TV show, it became his professional obligation to bring someone else's vision for him to life. And that vision was Scotty 2 Hotty. Whether he liked the character or not, it was his job to bring that vision to life. Whether Scott wanted to be a heel, or he wanted to have a certain finishing move, or he wanted to come out to a certain entrance theme, was irrelevant. His job was to bring the Scotty 2 Hotty character to life. And only by committing to that 100% was he able to realize it in a way that allowed him to enjoy success at a level he probably never would have if he had always remained Scott Taylor. There are a few reasons I'm choosing to share this information with you today, and the last of them is this. If it is an essential ingredient in your wrestling dream that you get to make your entrance to a certain song, if it's an essential ingredient to your wrestling dream that you get to wrestle under a certain mask, with a certain name, as part of a certain tag team, I want you to know that achieving that exact dream while working for the WWE, the odds of that coming true are insurmountably stacked against you. Less than 1% of the people at that level get to enjoy enough creative control over their direction that they define the vision for their character instead of being obligated to bring someone else's vision to life. And if those are essential ingredients to achieving your wrestling dream, I want you to be able to do that. But understand, it will be you producing it. It will be you bankrolling it. It's going to be you starting your own wrestling promotion over which you have final creative say and guiding things in such a direction that you are able to achieve your heart's desire. And outside of that scenario, it's extraordinarily unlikely it will ever be realized exactly the way you've been dreaming about it. And I want you to achieve your wrestling dream no matter what it is, but I also don't want to candy coat reality for you. If these things are essential to achieving your wrestling dream, your best bet is to go and make it real for yourself. If starting your own wrestling promotion just got added to your to-do list, then you better watch the video appearing on screen right now so you can keep on learning. And let me know what you think of today's video. Would you leave it for me down below in the comment section, please? And a big thank you, as ever, to all of my loyal patrons. It would not be possible to keep making these videos without each and every one of you.